You know, motorcycles are often called freedom machines. The wind in your face, the open road, the speed. Sounds amazing, right? Yeah, until the part where you become one with the asphalt. Today we're diving into some of the most painful, horrific, and downright insane motorcycle deaths ever recorded. So grab your helmet, or don't, like half the people in these stories, and let's traumatize ourselves together.
In 2018, a young guy in India decided to take his motorcycle for a ride through the city. But just riding wasn't enough. No, he wanted clout. He wanted likes. So he set up his phone on the bike and started streaming himself live on social media while speeding. At first, it was just him laughing, weaving through cars, showing off. Then, while his viewers were spamming in the chat, he suddenly lost control. In a horrifying split second, his bike slammed into a divider, catapulting him into oncoming traffic. The impact ripped his body across the pavement like shredded paper. His phone, still recording, captured the moment the screen went black. People later said it was the most realistic live stream they had ever seen. He got the attention he wanted, just not in the way he expected.
Brazil, 2020. A rider was flying down the freeway at night. No helmet, no jacket, just a t-shirt and some flip-flops. That's basically like wearing wrapping paper to a gunfight. As he passed an overpass, he suddenly clipped the side barrier and went airborne. For a second, it almost looked cinematic, like something out of an action movie. But instead of a cool landing, his body smacked headfirst into a concrete pillar. The force was so intense that his skull actually split open, like a dropped watermelon. Witnesses said it didn't look like a person anymore, or like someone had spilled meat all over the pavement. The highway was shut down for hours, not because of the traffic, but because cleanup crews literally had to scrape him off with shovels.
Thailand, 2019. This one starts kind of funny. A guy wanted to impress his friends by pulling off a massive wheelie on his sport bike. And for a second, it actually worked. He lifted the front tire high in the air, roaring down the street like a hero. Then physics stepped in. The bike tilted too far back, the rider panicked, and instead of hitting the brakes, he revved harder. The motorcycle flipped, slamming him directly onto his spine at full speed. The sound? Witnesses said it was like hearing a tree snap in half. He was instantly paralyzed, unable to move, lying on the ground while the bike skidded another 200 feet away. By the time paramedics arrived, he wasn't just broken. He was bleeding internally so badly that he didn't even make it to the hospital alive. The wheelie worked until it didn't.
Russia, 2016. A motorcyclist was racing through the city streets, weaving through traffic at over 100 miles per hour. Everything was fine until it wasn't. He lost control near a crowded bus stop. The bike skidded sideways, throwing sparks before it slammed directly into the waiting crowd. The impact was so catastrophic that it killed him instantly and injured nearly a dozen others. Eyewitnesses said his body literally disintegrated on impact, spraying bone fragments and blood onto the people who were just trying to catch a ride home. The city later described the scene as a war zone in the middle of rush hour. So yeah, public transport suddenly didn't seem like such a bad option.
California, 2021. A motorcyclist collided with a pickup truck on the freeway. Not that unusual, happens all the time. But what made this one special was the angle of the crash. When he slammed into the truck, his gas tank ruptured instantly. The sparks from the metal scraping the pavement ignited the fuel, and within seconds, both he and his bike turned into a moving fireball. Witnesses described it as a scene straight out of a movie, except the screams weren't scripted. The flames burned so intensely that by the time firefighters arrived, there wasn't even much left of the rider to identify. Just ashes, twisted metal, and a smell people said they'd never forget.
Vietnam, 2017. A motorcyclist was riding through the countryside when he lost control on a dirt road and got launched up a small embankment. Instead of landing in the bushes, he went airborne into a set of low-hanging power lines. The wires wrapped around him like a trap. Electricity surged through his body instantly, lighting him up like a human Christmas decoration. The current was so strong that his clothes caught fire, his skin blistered, and his muscles literally cooked while he was still alive. By the time rescue crews managed to shut the power off, he was already gone. All that was left was a smoldering corpse dangling from the wires.
Philippines 2019. This one's just brutal. A young couple had just gotten married and decided to take a quick motorcycle ride before their reception. They were still in their wedding clothes. The bride in her white dress sitting behind her new husband, smiling, laughing. But less than a mile from the ceremony, a truck suddenly veered into their lane. The crash was catastrophic. The groom was crushed instantly under the truck's wheels. The bride was thrown across the road, her dress shredded, her body mangled beyond recognition. The wedding went viral online, but not for the reasons anyone ever wanted. Instead of wedding photos, the only thing people saw were images of a blood-soaked dress lying on the asphalt. In 2021, late at night, a delivery rider decided to take a shortcut through the industrial district. The streets were empty, the neon signs flickering, and he thought it was the perfect chance to test how fast his bike could go. At first, it was smooth, just the hum of the engine and the blur of warehouses rushing past. But shortcuts are shortcuts for a reason. Out of nowhere, a chain had been stretched across the road between two posts, meant to block trucks from entering. He didn't see it. Front wheel cleared it, but his body didn't. The chain hit him at neck level, and in a split second, it was over. The impact decapitated him instantly, his head flying one way and his body skidding another. The bike kept rolling a few more feet before falling over like nothing happened. By the time anyone found him, all that was left was a helmet filled with blood lying next to a headless body on the pavement. People later said it was the kind of scene you'd expect in a horror movie, except it was real, and it was delivered free of charge.
In 2019, a college kid thought it would be funny to prank his friends by riding his motorcycle blindfolded. He tied a bandana around his eyes, bragging he knew the streets by heart. At first, everyone laughed. He roared down the block, wobbling a little but still holding on. For a second, it actually looked like he might pull it off. Then came the intersection. He never saw the red light. He never saw the city bus. The bus hit him so hard, it launched him into the air like a rag doll. Witnesses said he spun 3 full flips before crashing into a traffic light pole. The impact shattered his spine instantly. When his body slid down, he looked less like a biker and more like a broken marionette tossed on the street. His friends got the video they wanted, but instead of posting "Epic Prank Win," the clip went viral under a new title, Darwin Award, Blindfolded Biker.
So what did we learn today? That motorcycles are fast, fun, and can turn you into ground beef faster than you can say helmet loss. Every single rider in these stories thought they had control. They thought it wouldn't happen to them. But speed, metal, and human flesh don't mix well. If you still feel like riding after hearing this, just remember, asphalt doesn't care about your confidence, and the guardrail doesn't care how many Instagram likes you get. Ride safe or don't. I'll be here to tell your story either way.